I'm back with Modern Horizons 3 pre-release kit opening. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. It is just a standard pre-release kit. And yeah, let's go ahead and start opening it. Once we get this bad boy opened up, it's going to have inside the standard selection of tokens and other cardboard stuff, which is usually used pretty well in just for the pre-release. I don't really keep those things. And also a cardboard box. Inside is going to be the standard pre-release spin down dice. The spin down dice is just like any other spin down dice, with the special symbol being on the 20. Also included is going to be the just a information card saying how you should build your deck with around 17 lands or so, and your typical mana curve. Inside, you're also going to find 6 play boosters for building your deck out of, and a promo pack. Inside the promo pack is going to be the standard arena code for a few packs, which I'm not going to show that information here. And also, you're going to get 3 dual mode cards for in case you don't have sleeves. So it's easy to keep track of your cards. You're also going to get a promo, as you notice in the left-hand side of the promo's picture. You're going to see a 2024 stamp, and this particular promo is Emperor of Bones. Your promo could be something different. You have a chance to get a mythic or some kind of rare. Usually it's going to be in foil. The Emperor of Bones is 1 black, 1 generic, and it's a 2/2 creature skeleton noble. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to 1 target card from your graveyard, and once if you do not have any tokens on it, you can pay the adapt cost, which is a black and 1 generic, for adapt 2 to put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. And then whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are on Emperor of Bones, put a creature card exile with Emperor of Bones onto the battlefield under your control with a finality counter on it. It gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. Next, we're going to go into these individual packs. Right here is an art card. Art cards are kind of cool. You get 1 for, 1 out of almost every other pack. Sometimes you can get tokens. I'm going to go ahead and just stop on the any important cards, such as cards that could affect the format, or I'm going to stop and talk about the rares. Here we are with our first rare, white Orchid Phantom for 2 white. It's a 2/2 creature spirit knight, flying first strike, and when it enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target non-basic land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Going on to the second rare of the pack, it is a fetch land, Bloodstained Mire foil. It's a land, and it taps and you pay a life, sacrifice Bloodstained Mire, search your library for a swamp or mountain card and put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle. Going on to the next pack, let's see if we get anything amazing. So we're going to stop at a new common style. This is Shattered Landscape. It is one of some of the new lands that allow you to fetch for certain kinds of basic lands. Like Shattered Landscape lets you tap for a colorless, or you can tap and sacrifice Shattered Landscape to search your library for a basic land type. This one specifically is a mountain, plains, or swamp. And then it has a third ability that allows you to cycle for 1 of each of those manas. Here's another cool card of note, Planner Genesis. This is a great uncommon that's going to be used in both modern and also in Commander. If you get this, man, you're going to love it if you're a green and blue player. It's an instant for just a green and blue. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't, put a card from among them onto them into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So yeah, it doesn't miss, and it's going to help you get some much needed land drops. I'm a huge fan of this card. Here we are going on to another a cool card to take note of. This is Waterlogged Teachings. It's a dual face card, so dual mode card. This particular one costs either blue, black, and 3 colorless. It's an instant. Search your library for an instant card or a card with flash, reveal it, and put it in your hand, and then shuffle. The cool thing about these dual mode cards is you're able to go through and utilize them in different styles of decks. This particular one uh, allows you to replace a land card, because when you go through and flip it over, it has a chance of making it as a land that enters a battlefield tapped, and it taps to produce either a blue or black. And there's an entire land cycle about this. So when you're building your deck, you're able to go through and really maximize some value there. And here for the next rare, Shil Genyar, Sire of Famine. It's a 2 black, 3 generic legendary creature, Elder Demon. It's a 6/6 flying, and then sacrifice another creature, create a blood token. If you sacrifice an angel this way, create a number of blood tokens equal to its toughness instead. So you can see this in demon decks. You can definitely see it in decks that want to utilize blood tokens as well as angels. So if someone targets your angel, you can go ahead and just sacrifice it and say, "Oh yeah, no, you had to get rid of my angel, which now I get a bunch of blood tokens, and it has a big payoff." So for combination colors of white, black, white, black, white, black, sacrifice 6 blood tokens. Return each creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with finality counter on it. Those creatures are vampires in addition to their other types. So it is a pretty cool card. And I want to stop at this comment. Cranial Ram, this card has already been banned in Pauper, and there's a reason why, because it is bonkers good. For a black and a red, it is an artifact equipment, living weapon. So when this equipment enters the battlefield, you get to create a 0/0 black Phyrexian Germ creature token and then attach it to it. Equipped creature gets +X+1, where X is the number of artifacts you control. So for 2 mana, it comes into play as a 1/1, but you're able to attach it to something else, and as you get more artifacts, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a pretty cool card. I don't know how good it's going to be in other formats, but they said it's not going to be seen in Pauper. Going on to pack 3. Let's see if we get something good. Here we are with the next card of note, Sink into Stupor. For 2 blue and 1 generic, it's an instant. Return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. And it's a dual mode card, so it also is a land. And the cool thing about this kind of land is when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. So you have the option to either have it come into play tapped, or you can pay that 3 life. And my next rare is Phyrexian Tower, legendary land. It taps to produce a colorless mana, or it taps and you sacrifice a creature, and it adds 2 black mana to your mana pool. And of course, we get another rare in this pack, Clethonian Nightmare. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. For a black and a generic, it's enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy counters, and then you pay X energy, so as many energy as you want. Sacrifice a creature, return this card to its owner's hand, return target creature card with a mana value of X from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. Interesting. Going on to the next pack. Here we go. Here we are with the first rare of the pack, Omo, Queen of Vesuva. This is actually from the Commander set of Modern Horizons 3, so you're not going to see this be legal in actually play it in modern. But of course, as everyone says, this is not necessarily modern Horizons, but Commander Horizons 3. So for Omo, she is uh, a blue green and 2 generic for a 1/5 legendary creature shapeshifter noble. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each of up to 1 target land and up to 1 target creature. Each land with an everything counter is every land type in addition to its other type. So it's a desert, it's a mountain, it's all land types. And then each non-land creature with an everything counter on it is every creature type. So, i.e., it becomes a changeling. Fun, interesting kind of card mechanic. I don't know if it's going to see much play, but I'm sure someone's going to make it interesting. The next round in the pack is Shadow of the Second Sun. For 2 blue, for generic, it's an enchantment aura. Enchant player. At the beginning of enchant player's post-combat main phase, there is an additional beginning phase after this phase. The end step happens after the added untap, upkeep, and draw steps. So if you have things that trigger off of upkeeps, you get to draw an additional card for that draw step or draw extra cards depending on what the actual board state is. And then, of course, you get an added untap step. So if you had attack, you can get untap your thing. So your creatures kind of attack like they had vigilance, but it's not quite. It's very interesting. I think this card might see some play for some of those degenerate decks out there that want to make sure that they are able to do lots of things during their turn. But until I want to see what someone builds with it. Until then, let's a wait and see style card. And of course, another foil rare. This is a foil mythic. So this double mythic pack, which is great. Actually, triple mythic pack. This is Flage, Titan of Fire's Fury for a white, a red, and a generic for a 6/6 legendary creature Elder Giant. And when it enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice it unless it escapes. It has an escape cost, but I'll get to that in a second. And then whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life. So nice little lightning helix there. And then escape cost is 2 red and 2 generic. Escape, exile 5 other cards, and it can come into play. Going on to the 6th and final pack. Let's go. Here we are with another interesting card. Vexing Bauble. For 1 generic mana, it's an artifact. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast a spell, you get to counter it. And then pay 1 and tap, sacrifice Vexing Bauble, draw a card. That first part, that static ability of whenever a player casts a spell for no mana, if no mana was spent to cast it, is huge. So cards such as Plot, such, Effect, or even cards that have been cheated into play, or one of many other abilities, this card just stops it. This card's amazing. Someone tries to force of will you. Man, I am all about this card. This card is going to go on almost 65 to 70% of my commander decks. It is amazing. If you can get this card, grab it while you can. I think it's going to retain some value, even though it's uncommon. So there's going to be a bunch of them out there, but it's going to go in a ton of decks. Let's go on to the next card. Next card is Roshin Roaring Prophet. This is a rare, a green, a red, and 2 generic for a 4/4 legendary creature giant shaman. And when it enters the battlefield, mill 6 cards. You may put a card with an X in its mana cost from among them into your hand. So Walking Ballista, a Fireball, etc., etc. And then tap, reveal any number of cards with an X in their mana cost in your hand. You get to add 2 colorless mana for each card revealed this way. Spend this mana only to cast that cost contains an X. So even if it's an ability or if it is the actual mana cost, you can use that X mana. So if you want to put extra counters on things, if it requires an X, or if you are spending an XX for a Walking Ballista Or if you're casting a Disintegrate that costs a red and an X, this card might be a great addition for that deck, or it might actually be seen as a commander for those styles of decks. Going on to the next rare, Disruptor Flute. For 2 generic mana as an artifact, has flash, enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Spells with the chosen name cost 3 more to cast. Activate abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So this card does a lot. I think this is going to see a lot of play in modern when it comes to people putting it in their sideboards. Yes, best of, not everyone's playing best of 1, best of 3 is it's kind of the standard. And this card will see lots of best of 3 play because of the fact that you can make it so people's combo pieces are going to cost 3 more, or even better, their activated abilities such as Planeswalkers are just, if you name that card, they just don't work. So this is a great reactionary card to people's best cards in their deck. And of course, the last card of the pack is the Emperor of Bones, which we've seen already. And the rest is the rest. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic week. And if you have a chance to make it out to your local game store to play in a pre-release game, please go through and do it. It's a lot of fun. It's my favorite time of the year. It happens 5 to 6 times a year, and it's just a blast. So go out to your local game store and play some Magic. And, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And until next time, I hope you keep it rolling. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.